Hi, everyone. I'd like to do a shout out to our sponsor, Baco Diagnostics. Early detection is the single most important factor in improving patient outcomes. The Baco Diagnostics team recognizes how impactful a podiatric physician can be and remains committed to supporting you in your role as the first line of defense in diagnosing conditions of the lower extremity. Thanks to the unwavering support of their clients, Baco Diagnostics has been able to give back to the podiatric community for 16 years by providing podiatric educational resources and advocating for the position. Baco Diagnostics, helping podiatric physicians keep America on its feet. If you have not yet had the opportunity to utilize Baco Diagnostics services, get started today by sending an email to corporaterelations@bacodiagnostics.com. The first 50 podiatry offices who request a starter kit will receive a Dean's Chat mug. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dean's Chat, where we discuss all things podiatric medicine. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Jensen. I'm the Dean at the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine and host for the Dean's Chat podcast. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Johanna Richey. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just over a week post-op on my knee scope, and I'm starting to get around a little better.
It's fantastic. Well, we certainly missed you last week at the National. I'm really excited about our interview today. This is really, really fun for me.
Absolutely. I was at the National in spirit, Joe.
You were right there. We were talking, your ears were buzzing for sure, because we were talking about you the whole time in a good way.
Okay. All right. We'll run with that. All right. Yes, we have a phenomenal interview today. I would like to introduce Dr. Naomi Choi. Dr. Choi, welcome to Dean's Chat.
Thank you so much for having me and making the time for this. It means so much.
Well, thank you for joining us. We know how busy you are, and you just got out of the OR. So thank you for making time. If it's all right with you, let's go with first names. We're fairly informal here on Dean's Chat. Let's go Naomi, Joe, and Jeff.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, I am really excited. So Naomi was one of my students, Jeff, at Samuel Merritt. And it's amazing when I look back at when you graduated, it was a legitimate, and of course, you're a second year resident now. It was a long time ago, but I'm really excited to have you on today, Naomi. I'm going to do a brief intro, but there's so many incredible things that I learned off of your CV that I'm really excited. So we're going to jump in. So Dr. Choi graduated from the University of California, Los Angeles with her Bachelors in Art and Sociology. And then you followed up with some post-bac work at Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science. You've received an MBA from the Quantic School of Business and Technology on a full ride scholarship. You got your Doctorate of Podiatric Medicine degree from Samuel Merritt University up in Northern California. But I was incredibly fascinated by you were the translator for the First Lady in South Korea. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how you got involved?
It was an incredible experience. Straight out of college, I really had no idea what I wanted to do at all. And I was searching for jobs, recruiting, and they were looking for each first lady of Korea has a project each year. And that year in 2011, there was the project for Korean food globalization, where she wanted to make Korean food more known and international for its cuisine, for the different colors it portrays, like for health purposes as well. And so her project was to globalize Korean food and to make it more like open and welcoming to the international community. So I had it was an incredible honor to be able to work with her guidebooks as well as her projects and also her ceremonies and also like all the restaurants that she introduces and all the cooks that the chefs that she also portrays that were like special, like that some were adopted from Korea and grew up in Germany, or some were adopted in the United States. And a lot of these people ended up becoming incredible chefs. And so she would feature like different Korean cuisines, varying from Michelin stars to very like hole in the wall restaurants. And so this was like the aim to really globalize and make Korean food more known, because I feel like a lot of times, like before in that time period, like Korean food was not as famous as Japanese food, for example. So when I saw like the job requirements and being able to travel for free and like try all these foods for free and then write and read, like those are one of my favorite activities to do. I immediately like signed up. And then I was so grateful I got an interview, and that was the first round. And then I didn't think I would get it, but then I went to the next round. And then they said they were debating between a few people. And then I fortunately was able to get the job straight out of, not straight out of college, but a few months out of college. And then it was just an incredible opportunity to just learn so much about new cultures, new people. And then also it was so different from what I had expected. And also growing up, like my parents, they were not the most from like, who were able to afford travel abroad. So this was also an incredible opportunity to be able to travel the world, something I had dreamt about since I was a kid. So
that's just an incredible experience. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was just going to say, I've been to Korea a lot through some medical device development. And I used to work a lot in Busan, but I always fly through Seoul and take the train down. And the food is unbelievable. I would go like 5 days in a row, and I would never pick up like a fork or a knife or a spoon. I had chopsticks on every meal, and kimchi and barbecue and the different beef. I mean, it was phenomenal food. So I don't blame you. How did you gain any weight? Did you gain any weight during that year?
Much. That was like my highest BMI during that period.
Oh my gosh, it just sounds so fun. It sounds like a job you want to stay in forever.
I did, but unfortunately, every amazing job has to end. And then through her connections, I was able to get a job through like the Ministry for Health, and I was able to get a job where I was translating the protocols for medical translations for clinical pathology and other like standards. It's kind of like the equivalent of like the National Health Insurance Corporation. In Korea, it's there's one, like they have better healthcare systems. So basically, I had that opportunity to translate in medical translation. And I had never thought about science or medicine or healthcare before that. And so through the interpretation job, I was able to encounter like the field of healthcare clinicians. And it was so interesting, and I was fascinated. So after that job, I came back and I decided to continue like volunteering at hospitals, and then really just see what patient care is truly like. And I noticed that like I really like the healthcare aspect. I love that, like, in business, it's all about like making money or profit. But then something about healthcare that really drew me was like it's also focused on the patient, and there's such a like diverse team that's all cooperating together to really help patients. So I started thinking about something in healthcare, but I still wasn't sure. And so yes.
Yeah, and looking through some of the other opportunities, you had the opportunity to be a international clinical research associate. Spent some time in Lucca, Italy, as well as Potsdam, Germany. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how you found that.
Yes. So after a while, I was staying in Southern California, and I realized like I really missed world travel. So I looked for other opportunities, and I saw the research associate job. And then they were studying Achilles tendon lengths at maximal cardiac stress tests. So they tried to measure like the length of Achilles tendon, how much it would shrink or how much it would deplete after a patient or after a person is running, like for healthy athletes, as well as middle-aged patients, well, not patients, but populations. And then they were trying to do a study to see whether if you run to your maximum cardiac testing of 90%, whether that has an impact on Achilles tendon, like the length, the size, with ultrasound guidance. So I just thought it was an interesting study. And then to be able to live in like Potsdam, Germany, sounded like really amazing. So I honestly went for the travel, as well as like I love the interaction with patients and like people and like sports and the Achilles tendon, and like it was my first like kind of like introduction into podiatry too. So because it's like the foot and ankle, and every country is so different in terms of podiatry and podiatric surgery, and like the scope in every country too. So yeah, I started looking into it, and I had not known of these options before before this study.
I was curious if whether when I saw that about the Achilles tendon, if there was some connection into your origin story of how you found podiatry. So that's really so. Were these studies being conducted by German podiatrists?
Oh, so they were done by like the sports medicine department there. by sports medicine doctors, and then PhD students that needed a project to graduate as well. Um, and so I believe they were bioengineering students in Potsdam University. And I was really thrilled to bring I did the English research because a lot of like the databases and articles are in English. So I would read and then I would help them prepare presentations, their articles, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it so much.
And did you learn to speak German?
Very little, unfortunately. I think German is not my forte, honestly.
That's
Did, Naomi, did they find some results doing that research? Were they looking at lactic acid buildups? Or I'm just curious as to what the end game was there.
They actually found that when they run to the 90% maximal stress test, the Achilles tendon length shrinks a little bit, but it was very temporary and they would recover over a few days. So it didn't have a huge impact, and they didn't think that it would like increase the chances of like injury or tear. But the fact that it did shrink, that was quite surprising. I didn't
Yeah.
think that it would shrink like after one session of a 90% stress test where they're running super vigorously. Like, yes. So that
Yeah.
was interesting.
I love it.
Yeah, that is really interesting. And the curiosity part. I always enjoyed chatting with you, Naomi, as a student. You had great questions and curiosities that just your love for life and learning. And I'm inspired by that. And I was so excited because I saw your name come across my LinkedIn, and I'd love to transition into some of your innovations. You have been busy since we last saw each other. You are currently, again, just to make sure that I keep your introductions going, currently a resident, second year resident at the Yale New Haven Health program. I want to hear about your residency program. But before we do that, I really want to hear about you have 9 different patents that you've been working on, and 2 of these have won first place awards. So LimGuard won the first place award at the Hack Health, which was organized by Columbia University. And Pinsight won the first place award for MIT's Hacking Medicine Grandhack. I am so proud of you. When I saw this, I was just floored. And that's just 2 of them. I also would love to talk to you about your constitutional symptom animator, only because of all the language stuff. We could talk about all of them, but I would love to start with, how did these projects come to you? Tell us about them.
I feel like one thing that happened was, and I wasn't sure where I would end up in residency, and then ending up in New Haven and ending up in the Yale New Haven Health System and Bridgeport Hospital, I feel like was a blessing in disguise, because I did not know about all these opportunities that Yale Innovation and Yale Ventures offered. They are so supportive of like Yale Health System employees. They have like an innovation center and an innovation director. And so I feel like it was incredible to be able to work with them. And like they're so encouraging. They have their team that supports you when you have an idea. I believe they do take some royalties if something does end up profiting, but many ideas do not like always end up becoming profitable. But I just love the aspect of being able to think of patient needs that exist. And during residency, I had a really bad back injury. And during that time of recovery, I think I had the chance to just take a moment and really think about what it's like to be both a patient and a provider, and being on both sides. It was so like life changing, like going back into residency on a scooter, riding a scooter, seeing patients and patients cheering me on, and like we're both like cheering each other on about recovery. And so like during the time I was on the scooter and seeing other patients on scooters, I realized this need of like pressure ulcers and so many things we can do to prevent that. That's where the inspiration came from for LimGuard, because I realized like from pressure points, a lot of patients may have like a foot injury or foot infection, and then they use the knee scooter, and then the knee gets so much friction, they end up getting knee sepsis from a knee joint infection. And so like we don't realize like the amount of how pressure, infection, and like, arterial flow has an impact. And those 3 aspects, thinking about those 3 aspects. And then on top of that, like a lot of patients who have lower limb injuries and amputations are somewhat like disconnected with their family members, or sometimes don't tell their family members because there's some stigma behind having amputations, or they don't want that to be known. I mean, I'm not saying that's for everyone. There are definitely patients where their entire family member and social network is aware of what's going on. But there are also so many patients that we serve at Bridgeport where their family members and social network had no idea what they were going through because they wear socks and sneakers, so it's hidden. And so that really like meant so much to me. And I really wanted to do something that could prevent amputations, but not only that, but also like let providers, not providers, but their social network know if the patient chooses to see how their patient, how that person or family member or friend's progress is going. So we came up with biometric sensors that detect pressure, basically pressure, and then pH levels, because pH goes up with infection, as well as temperature changes to see if there's infection, if there's a higher risk of infection. And then our idea was to put it into an app that integrates with the garment, and then also have activities of daily living. For example, letting a patient know, like, the way you roll out of your bed to the right today is causing so much pressure on that right heel. You need to find a different way of doing that. Or like, reminders that are personalized to that patient, to that person. And then also social network and family members that they choose to be able to see that. So that was the idea. And we ended up winning recently the ILR AI for Purpose, the 2025 digital health pitch at Cornell, which was at Cornell University as well. And we were so grateful. We had no idea like what could happen. And this was just an idea, and we're still developing the prototype. I feel like we're still newbies to this, and we're all like still learning. So it's incredible to be able to navigate this journey with all these people that are so supportive and like helping us patent or doing pro bono patenting IP with us, and then mentoring us. Like Yale Innovation, Dr. Kurtiera has been so like, she's been helping so much, as well as she's another person at AI for Purpose. Kelly has been really fundamental too. And they've been always like pushing us to continue and connecting us with the right people to continue our project. Because it's so hard as a resident to have the time to do everything as well as afford to do everything. So I think that it's so important having this like complete like team of different people from different backgrounds, multidisciplinary like teams, and people who are just passionate about preventing and helping patient care, especially for lower extremity infections, amputations, injuries, and even paraplegics. Like after Special Olympics, like we volunteered for this event, we saw like there was so much need for these Olympians that have very special needs. Like their gait is very different; it's very specific. Some have Charcot, some have a below knee amputation or above knee amputation. So, like to be able to have more specialized garments or socks to be able to prevent further like amputations, infections, we thought would be an idea. So it was like a collaborative effort. It was amazing to be able to do this. And I recently became a third year and achieved.
Oh my goodness, that's right. I'm so sorry. I introduced you as a second year, and you're very much a third year.
It was amazing to be able to. I did not think I would be able to like survive the residency, but it's definitely an amazing learning experience. So
Yeah. And Jeff, I know there's a lot of things that resonate in your history, in your past, talking about limb salvage and patents. So
Yeah, I'm amazed and how incredible it is to go to Yale. You're going to do a podiatric residency program, and you bump into the Innovation Summit at Yale. And I noticed a common theme in all of your projects. It's working with a cross-functional team. You commented on a little bit, Naomi, but do they have a template? Do they say, this is how we're going to do it? We're going to identify a problem. We're going to understand what's currently available. And then we're going to bring an engineering team in and IP attorneys. Is it a replicable process that you're working under to get so many projects going?
such a good question. So Yale has every year a different theme. Like last year, I believe was AI. This year was They have every like new theme for each year for all clinicians, all employees, regardless of whether you're an MA or a physician or a nurse, to apply. And if it is a good idea, then they offer you to go to the next round for pitches, or they offer mentorships, or they offer one-on-one counseling, or they offer like time sessions where they connect you with the people at Yale Ventures and the Yale Health Innovation. So I think that was an incredible opportunity. For example, for the Yale Blavatnik, we thought of like a surgical idea where instead of debriding it with just we use a lot of saws or rongeurs or many devices. Why not, if osteomyelitis in the calcaneus bone is in a curvature, or if it's in like a wormhole or something, why not improve the access? And so our idea went to the quarterfinalist rounds, but we didn't go beyond that. But it was just an incredible experience, because just to go to that stage, they are just so welcoming, and they set you up with the right mentors that have experience in that stage, that have experience, like as somebody who retired or was a former founder of a company in that similar. So they try to really match you with people with similar interests. And then having the principal investigator, a faculty of Yale, I think that really kickstarts like it really, like they're so good at like encouraging you to continue. And I think that really meant so much. And then also like going to hackathons, it wasn't just about winning this event, but it's about meeting these incredible people that are not all clinicians or in healthcare. Some of them were engineers, biomedical engineers. Some of them were chemists, physicists, or like, and so having this multidisciplinary team, I feel like I met a lot of the people and teammates through hackathons, because we share like the similar interest and passion for innovation. So, and then also my podiatry team at Yale Bridgeport were so fundamental. I don't think I could have done it without them.
It's incredible. I mean, what an opportunity. As I kind of mentioned, you go to a residency, you think it's going to be completely podiatry centric. And then you're working with all the limb salvage teams and vascular surgeons and ID. And next thing you know, you're making pitches to Yale Ventures. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think, oh, go ahead.
Oh, yes. I feel like they're just so welcoming. I think that compared to the incredibly more talented people there, like my pitch was nothing, but I was just so grateful to be able to share that idea, because it's not about like profiting or winning the grand prize, but to be able to represent our field, it was incredible. I think that meant so much.
Well, also, Joan, I don't mean to hog the interview here, but it lays a foundation for your future, that if you see something that intrigues you, you in your mind already know what the team looks like to bring it to fruition. I mean, it's tremendous education. I just think I think it's just wonderful.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
And I think that's something that's so neat, Naomi, is like looking at all the different things that you've had in your experiences. The way that you look at the world is valuable, because you look at something, and I love what you just highlighted there. This isn't about creating a product that makes $1 billion. Like if that happens, awesome, right? Nobody's going to be sad about that. But this is about, I see something in the world. Can we make it better? Is there a way to bring awareness or insight, and bringing as many people as you can in the ways that, here, this is how it manifests to me in the world that I'm working in. What do you see, or what do you see as something that could be useful here? And that collaboration, I think, is really spectacular.
Thank you. That means so much. I think that podiatry, we serve underserved populations. And in a way, as a medical specialty, we are sometimes overlooked, but we are at the front lines of care for the unhoused populations, for blue-collared workers, for illegal immigrants, for so many people who can't. The first line of care, like the foot is so prone to injury when you're doing construction work or are unhoused or so many things. So I think that it's such an honor to just be able to bring up more light into what we do, like limb salvage, and also the impact that we have. And but not only that, I mean, we do so much in terms of trauma as well. And, this is always affecting more overlooked populations and underserved populations. So that was something that always broke my heart. And sometimes innovation is so focused on the people that are wealthy, or, but I feel like innovation should be something that improves the lives of all. And if it's able to improve underserved populations, that's even better. Like, too. So something that really touches. Sorry, I'm having a moment.
No, this is the most beautiful thing that we do. Actually, I was just listening to a podcast about Marcus Aurelius and this idea, like feeling human. And so don't feel people cry on our podcast. I have cried on our podcast, and I probably will again. It's the human part. And Naomi, the things that you're doing to represent people that maybe don't have a voice, that maybe have been marginalized in society, and the fact that you care about trying to make that better for them, that's amazing. And I genuinely, I am continually inspired by my students, now residents. Maybe we take a quick break, Jeff, to kind of hear a word from our sponsor, and then we can shift a little bit. We can keep talking about this, but we could shift maybe to talk about your residency program, because it's also that time of year where students are starting to figure out externships and they have lots of questions. So we'll take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, let's do a shout out to Bacco Diagnostics. We all know that early detection is the most important determination in improving patient outcomes. Bacco Diagnostics remains committed to supporting you in your role as the first line of defense in diagnosing lower extremity pathologies. Bacco Diagnostics, helping podiatric physicians keep America on its feet. Naomi, we like to give a shout out to Bacco. They help our entire profession across the board, from students to residents to practitioners, and just a wonderful company that supports our profession. So shout out to Bacco.
Shout out to Bacco. I loved their workshop. It was fun.
Oh, did you do one at Samuel Merritt?
Yes, it was amazing. I learned so much. The punch biopsies and the kits they have, the shave biopsies, learning about all the biopsies. That was so it was useful, very useful for.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad. And, that's a common theme, because whenever we're interviewing younger practitioners, it doesn't matter what school they went to, when they're in residency and when they're out, they always talk about their experience with Bacco and what Bacco gives back to improve our profession. So thank you for that feedback also.
Thank you.
So you are not that far from remembering what it was like going through that process of looking at all these different programs and trying to figure out, how do I set up my fourth year? Can you give us a little bit of a perspective about how you approached externships for advice for students?
Oh,
and then we can talk specifically about your program and some of the reasons that you love being there.
I think fourth year, it was very overwhelming, having to change to a different location every month. That was incredibly challenging. But at the same time, having traveled the world as an interpreter and having lived in multiple countries, I think it was much easier compared to some students who had just freshly graduated college but I feel like at the end of the day, it's really about finding a location where you would feel like you can grow, or where you could constantly learn and continuously learn. And I honestly, when I went to each externship, I thought about would I see myself here? Would I see myself there? And during the interview process, I really enjoyed the interview. And Yale Bridgeport was the first program I had interviewed. And the people there were just so welcoming. And it was so, the director was very kind. He was always pulling out the chair, very humble, but yet so talented in what he does, Dr. Irby. And then I remember Dr. Sirocco and Dr. De Jesus, and she's such a female leader that's very inspirational. She writes for the Forbes about shoe recommendations, plantar fasciitis, as well as she's such an amazing person. And also Dr. Zuckman. And so seeing all these people and how they interacted with each other, and how they, the questions they asked me during interviews, I think it really, it was a very good experience. I think I felt like this is a place or program where I could grow. So I feel like the interview process is not just about them interviewing you, but also you to find out more about them and what their interactions are like and what they want from a resident. Because at the end of the day, it's almost like you're joining their family. So I think that was, and also it really didn't matter to me whether it was incredibly intense or, I would rather be in a very intense, hard residency because it's only 3 years of your life. If I'm able to see the most things possible, to be able to experience the most things, see the largest amounts of patients, I really like that this program has 3 campuses where one serves like Bridgeport, which is very underserved, many unhoused populations, laborers, construction workers. A lot of these patients come in, and I thought neck fash was rare before residency, but at Bridgeport, it's very, very common because the patients are so vulnerable and they are that type of patient population where they have so many comorbidities or have jobs that don't allow them to take breaks for their feet or lower extremity. And so that was an incredible experience. I was happy to see that the hospitals that we cover are covering a very diverse population, like including underserved, as well as Greenwich is known to be one of the wealthiest hospitals in the in that area. And it's a very different experience serving those patients. Sometimes they have 8 secretaries. They all have questions, and the entire process of getting a consent may take longer than the actual surgery. So, and then Milford is like a middle class hospital. So I think that when I saw this program and the hospitals they offered and the experiences, like as a provider you would get, I thought this is the program for me because I don't want to be just at like a very rich hospital, rich neighborhood. I would love to serve underserved patients. Like that's where we spend most of our time. And they're just so grateful, and the impact that we can make is just feels more profound. I mean, I love also doing elective cases at Greenwich as well. There's a lot of like elective cases and aesthetic cases as well there. So I love the balance that residency had to offer. And then Milford kind of being in between those two. I know a lot of people would not consider this residency because of the driving, but I think that being able to cover those. So I think that before residency, it's really important to consider like what you want from a program, which types of patient populations you want to serve, who do you want to make an impact on, and are they people that you want to learn from? Like, are these attendings like people you really want to grow with? Like, they might become like your pod mother or pod father for the next 3 years. So those were things that I considered, and I have no regret in choosing this residency. I feel really happy. It was definitely
that's
challenging,
beautiful.
but yes.
Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, I think it's in turn. I mean, they're very fortunate to have you, Naomi. It's like the perfect match. When I look at, we've had students rotate at the program, and they love it. They absolutely love it. And you took it to another level, being involved with the ventures and the new products and development. But tell us what it's like to be a clerk. If our students come and spend a month there, what are they looking at?
Oh, it's very challenging. It really depends on which resident they are paired with for that month, because we pair the students with our new first years. And it depends on what time the first year gets up, because they're usually rounding with the first years. So it could be very challenging. Sometimes they may wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sometimes 6 or 7 a.m., depending on cases. And we try to make all our externs see the largest amount of cases possible. Like today, we had an Achilles tendon repair. We had a Headland's deformity, as well as a metatarsal joint fusion. So we try to get our not our interns, but our externs to scrub into the largest amount of cases. So their days are usually just back-to-back cases all day, and then sometimes clinic exposure. But as students, I feel like it's really important to get that OR exposure before residency to kind of welcome them into residency when they start, so they feel more comfortable in the OR. So I feel like our program really kind of focuses on the academics and then the surgical aspects for our externs.
That's great. So oftentimes, Joe, we hear from the students, and like in the second year, it's classic, right? Oh my gosh, all these books. When are we going to get to see patients? When are we going to get to scrub in? And then they go spend a month with you, Naomi, and every single day they're scrubbed in on multiple cases, and they get to employ all that didactic knowledge.
We love having students. I don't know what we would do without students some days. They're just so fundamental. And a lot of times residents are sleep deprived, which is normal part of residency, being on call or having cases that you really want to go into and you end up going in, or you get called in because there is not enough coverage, or sometimes it could happen that it's something that, a certain level or a certain year should scrub in or help the other years like to learn more. So I feel like having students are so amazing. Like they make such a difference when just prepping the OR, it makes such a huge difference. We're so grateful when they do that, but it's not expected. Sometimes, I mean, there are definitely externs that are just going above and beyond, and there are externs that are more like a shadowing experience. It really depends on what they're more comfortable with.
Oh, I would love to piggy on that. When you say some of them go above and beyond, what does that look like for you at your program?
There have been externs that have been incredible. They would read up on cases, ask what the plan is, what they were thinking the surgery might like be, and how the attending or the resident was thinking of doing it, or what type of approach. For example, like today's Haglund's repair, like doing a lazy S or like an L, or so if like the students that went above and beyond would suggest, or like say they read up on something or an article or saw a video where they saw it being done in a certain way and how you would do it, or versus that attending would do it differently. And so being able to just hear that, it makes you happy because it makes it sound like they really care and they really studied up on the case. That really, I think that makes a huge difference. And also just being there in the OR, checking what time this case is going, if the patient's delayed or not delayed. It means so much when residents have like 100 million things to do on their list. And then the student is looking out for them and just telling them, oh, your case is going in like 10 minutes, or the patient is down here, I think you should go speak to them, or they're in the OR. That makes such a huge difference. And when they prep the OR, like having x-rays or just, having the lights in the right place, having the tourniquet set up, or having a bump and then having the locals drawn and just drawing, I mean, it makes such a difference. And so it just feels more smooth. And then after the case, like giving such little details, like even tourniquet time, like how long that was, because it's part of the op note. Some externs go above and beyond. They just like give a little sticky note or send a text saying like, oh, these were the measurements, or this was the tourniquet time, or, oh, I really liked how you did this aspect of this case, or I was wondering why you did this in this case. Like, it's totally okay to not know everything as an extern. I think that it's amazing, like, to not know. And whenever we ask students questions, like if they don't know and they're honest about it, I think that's great. As long as they look it up like the next few days and just get back to us, it just shows interest. And I think that any question is not dumb. It's a way to learn. So I think asking questions, and those are fundamental aspects of being an amazing extern and qualities we look for.
Nothing like being engaged and inspired. I mean, we love those students. We love those residents.
Oh, students, yes. Oh, thank you. You're so kind.
Joe, you think we should do a couple rapid fires?
Just a couple. We wouldn't be modern Dean's Chat without a couple fun rapid fire.
All right. Favorite Korean food after spending a year
that was mine.
testing it? I'm sorry, Joe.
I know this is such a generic answer, but I really love bibimbap. It's so good. I love all the colors, and as an interpreter for the guidebook and also for the Diversity of Korea's project, I learned that Korean cuisine was inspired by the different regions and like the growth and how each color represents health and certain regions in Korea. Like the red is for gochujang, which is part from sunchang, or the spinach, the green, or they try to put or enrich every food place with different colors to give like more nutrients. Like there's the ideology that you're giving more nutrients to your body by feeding your body like all the colors. possible. I thought that was a very interesting concept, and that's something I learned during that project. So, and then after seeing that and seeing a colorful bibimbap, every time I eat it, I think it's like a nostalgic memory of that amazing experience. And so I think bibimbap for me and the colors it represents and what it means is so meaningful.
Thank you.
Even though when it's mixed, it becomes one color. It's like,
I love that. And I like how you tied that to like food memory and like how you kind of can like document phases of your life. And so my question that's classic, I make the joke that I have a soundtrack to my life of like all these different phases of life, like where music comes in. So I know as a resident, you don't always get to pick, but if you got to pick the resident or the music in the OR, what would you be listening to, Naomi?
oh, Clocks by Coldplay.
Oh, nice. All right. Fantastic.
Coldplay's been in the news lately.
Really? Oh, I haven't had a
In a
chance.
good way or a bad way?
They were doing the kiss cam and they caught a couple that probably shouldn't have been exposed.
Uh-oh.
Sidebar comment. It's all right.
I had no idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're a resident. You don't know what's going on in the world. That's expected. No problem. No problem at all. All right. I guess I'm up. With all your travel and all your reading and all your experiences with food, what do you consider the ultimate relaxing weekend? Like when you're on call, you get to recharge your battery. What do you do?
That's such a good question, actually. I've actually recently become very into cacti. Um, these cacti that look like stones, they're called lithops.
Oh.
And they just look like stones and they don't look alive, but it's incredible that like they have really cool colors like orange, green, brown, like really don't look like plants, but I'm just fascinated at how like they are actually cacti. And I mean, I feel bad. I'm not the best plant mom. I think I'm watering them too much. But I think that's been my recent like go-to to relax. Seeing so many patients, seeing so many amputations, fractures, trauma, just being able to sit with like a cup of tea, read and look at the cacti is just an amazing experience. And just doing errands feels like a luxury.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most fun answer, but
well, but whatever it
small
is.
Things. Yeah, indulgence in small things. Simple things are amazing. It's what makes the world go round.
Absolutely. Well, Naomi, Joe and I are so pleased that you could make time to join us on Teens Chat. We just love your story, and I look forward to following your career. I mean, my gosh, I think you're just taking off.
Thank you so much. And this meant so much to me because Dr. Richey she was an amazing mentor while I was at Samuel Merritt. I still remember how much she cared for every student and the comments and feedback she would make. And like anytime we had a question, the way she would respond with like these 6-paragraph essays, I sometimes look back to it and look at like the questions I asked and the way she responded to it. It really just stuck to memory. And every time I do surgery, I think about what she said and the advice that she gave. And her course was one of the best. I'm so grateful. And to be invited back by her, it meant so much. It was, and then Dr. Jensen, I remember you interviewed me at Arizona. It was an incredible experience.
Oh man, we lost out. I don't know how we didn't get you.
It was so 50-50, honestly, between, it was just, and it was amazing to be able to reconnect with like both of you. And I wanted to hear about your patents as well and like your innovations. And
we can connect. I'd be happy to talk to you on the phone and maybe share some good ideas. And I don't know. I'll give you unsolicited advice. It's worth what you pay. If you pay nothing, we'll see what it's worth. But I'll do my best. Absolutely, Joe. You get the last word.
Okay.
Oh, just thank you so much, Naomi, for taking your time and that was so touching. I almost said you're going to make me cry. But thank you. Your class specifically was there for me also in a very hard time in my life. And I think that you guys saved me. So I appreciate that feedback because I meant every bit of it. And I'm so excited about your future. And I'm so proud of the work that you're doing. And for you to take time out of your day to come do this and chat with us is just It's wonderful. So thank you.
It meant so much. Like, I still remember how much you poured your heart into our classes. That meant the world to us. Like, that was one of the best experiences, Dr. Richey.
Well, thank you.
That is
I love
phenomenal.
to catch up with you too.
On that note, I don't know. We can't beat that note, but we're still going to.
Gratitude. It's the gratitude moment. Yeah.
We are going to send you a Dean's Chat mug, Naomi.
Oh my gosh.
I put your beverage of choice in it, and
tea.
Tea. I love it. And to all of our listeners out there, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please give us a 5-star rating. And if you have a chance, please leave a comment or two. And if you're listening on YouTube, by all means, become a subscriber. Dr. Richey and I will strive to bring you leaders in the profession and upcoming leaders in the profession like Naomi. Naomi, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you all for having me, and thank you both for what you do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers, everybody. See you next week.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.